It's Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Keatsman. I've got you for the next hour until Vince takes over with the Vince Show in this Thanksgiving week, where I know we all just kind of start feeling good about everything. The regular work routine kind of changes its way about. If you go into an office or work with other people, it's a different kind of week. You may be working a few days this week. You may have the whole week off. You may be retired. You may be a deadbeat that does nothing. But we're glad to have you with us today listening to KCMO Talk Radio on what is a festive and fun week. The holiday with very little stress. That's what we love about Thanksgiving week. We got a great show lined up for you today, including in a little bit, we'll talk Donald Trump weighing in on football again on social media, not just the special teams rules, and Dave Tobe, now he's caught the ire of the New York Giants. We'll take a couple of minutes on that one today. Campbell's Soup is in big trouble. They have an executive, wow, is this a mess? They're going to need every possible consultant they can find to handle this. You won't believe an executive at Campbell's Soup caught on tape what he says about the products that they make and the food that we eat. It is unbelievable. We got Mark Van Sickle a little bit later as well. We're going to talk to him. Oh, he's excited. I told him I was going to bring this topic up today, and he is jacked up and ready to go. We will provide for you a pathway for the Chiefs to win the AFC West. That's right. Amazing what one win will do. We start today with something that I was going to hold for a little bit later in the show, but it's just too good to not do it at the start. You remember yesterday, if you listened to the show, that I'm really upset with Mark Kelly, the senator in Arizona, and Elise Slotnick from Michigan, the senators and congresspeople that are basically telling military members and CIA operatives to disobey orders, yet they cannot identify any illegal order that's been given. It's terrible. It's terrible what they're doing. I'm not going to go into the whole story again because it doesn't matter. We did that yesterday, and you have your own opinions, and so there we go. But we've got to give the tip of the cap to start the show today to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, because he has posted the greatest post ever. So Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona, posted yesterday, when I was 22 years old, I commissioned as an ensign to the U.S. Navy and swore an oath to the Constitution. I upheld that oath through flight school, multiple deployments on the USS Midway, 39 combat missions in Operation Desert Storm, test pilot, 4 space missions, and on and on and on. And he posted, and we thank him for his service. That's incredible. He then posts a picture of his uniform, but not all of him, just his left shoulder and all of his medals and ribbons. And it's beautiful. It's decorative, and it's gorgeous. Pete Hegseth saw this. Pete Hegseth is not happy with Mark Kelly. Nobody's really happy with Mark Kelly. Democrats aren't really lining up saying, oh, this is awesome. These people are telling our folks in the military to not listen to orders. It is amazing the things that Trump gets these people to do to make them look bad. So Hegseth reposts the post of the photo with the medals and the ribbons and writes, so, Captain Kelly, not only did your sedition video intentionally undercut good order and discipline, but you can't even display your uniform correctly. Your medals are out of order and the rows are reversed. When and if you are recalled to active duty, it will start with a uniform inspection. I mean, chop him off at the knees. You can't even get the ribbons and medals right, and you're telling people to not listen to command? Oh, my God, this hits hard, folks. That's fighting back. That's real. That's the best possible way to deal with these people. And the Republican Party and the people in charge have all learned it from Trump, and it's absolutely glorious. Mark Kelly, you're telling people in the military to not listen to orders. If they think they're illegal, if they're asked to do something they think is wrong or illegal, like they're lawyers, like they would know if it's illegal. You're asking them to not listen, to disobey in the military, and you can't get your ribbons and medals right. Oh, my God. And if we recall you to active duty, it will start with a uniform inspection. I just absolutely love it. So many fun positions Trump puts them in to try to, well, they hate him. That's the problem. If they could just get rid of the hate and let some things slide, they'd be much better off. Like, why are they fighting this ballroom at the White House? This ramped up a little bit this week, as now the usual suspects, Liz Warren and Adam Schiff, are calling for a special committee to investigate and oversee. They want oversight on the $300 million White House ballroom project, which is being privately funded. Well, that is just the sworn enemy of the Democrats is privately funding something. I guess what they're saying is if we could just take this out of the Treasury and pay for it, they'd be okay with this. They don't like it privately funded. Now, think about any American citizen. You got two parties. You got the Republicans, you got the Democrats. One party wants to do a $300 million addition to the White House, and they're not going to spend any of your taxpayer dollars. They're going to fund it privately. The other says, no. That's dirty business. Use the government's money to do this. I mean, these things are unbelievable. Their positions are untenable. So now Liz and Shifty Schiff want oversight on this because the money, the private money is coming in. They believe that this is bribery in plain sight is what Liz Warren calls it. Trump's taking private money in exchange for favors. They're calling it a pay-to-play scheme for the $300 million ballroom at the White House because Apple, Meta, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft are all donating money to the cause. They forgot to mention that Trump already sued Meta and won $22 million. Pay to play? He's in bed with these people? He sued Meta and they settled for $22 million and they're still giving money to his ballroom. Apple is the first one listed. This is the one that really hasn't bothered, is Apple. Apple is donating. It doesn't say how much. What are we talking about? Maybe $5 million? Each of these companies going to kick in $5-10 million? Something like that. Apple's worth $4.1 trillion. It's bigger than France. Apple Corporation in the United States of America is larger than the GDP of France. Okay? So Apple has already committed to President Trump before the ballroom $600 billion, with a B, billion dollars investment in the United States of America, chip plants, manufacturing, iPhone assembly, different things that, or laptop assembly, probably not the iPhone. I don't know which products it is. $600 billion over the next 4 years. That's $150 billion a year. That's more than $12 billion a month. No, more than that, almost $13 billion a month. Over 4 years, Apple is putting in investments in America. And you'd think some $5 or $10 million donation to the ballroom is going to sway Trump? Trump's already on board with Apple. And the thing that they're missing, Elizabeth Warren and Adam Schiff, really, when they do stuff like this, and Americans know this inherently. Liz Warren and Adam Schiff went there to get rich. They wanted power. They wanted wealth. They're doing this. Marjorie Taylor Greene amassed a bunch of money. Nancy Pelosi. We've seen all these people go to D.C. and amass this enormous wealth over time. They did not arrive with wealth. Donald Trump, again, is the opposite of that. He doesn't need $10 million from Apple. He doesn't need it. He's going to get his $300 million whether Apple's in or not. They're doing it because they're working together. We respect you. Trump couldn't fit in better with these tech billionaires than he does. And they've got more money than he does. The companies certainly do. I don't know if, like, Tim Cook, the Apple CEO, is a billionaire yet, but he's got hundreds of millions. He's very, very wealthy. He's one of the greatest CEOs of all time. Mark Zuckerberg has billions. Elon Musk has billions. Bezos has billions. These guys are all richer than Trump. He's in bed with them as a pay-for-play scheme? What on earth are they talking about? It's a ballroom for the White House that every Democrat president for the rest of the United States history will get to use as the ballroom for really nice, fancy state dinners, which I, as a taxpayer, appreciate. I think America should have this ballroom. I think we should have great state dinners with foreign leaders. I think incredible events should be there. I think they should be used for all of the great purposes that show America in its greatness, not some transgender pride thing that they have on Easter with a tranny bunny out there on the lawn. Not that stuff. Not that stuff. American greatness. We're America. You're here. You're our guest. We're going to roll out the very best we can do for you. It's the Trump playbook. Americans love it. They do love it. And I don't know why these Democrats can't get on board with something like this. How hard would it be? I mean, if Joe Biden said, we need a new ballroom, and these companies are going to fund it, we got all these private people, it's not going to cost America anything, what do you think this radio host would say on the air? Good for him. Well done. Nice job. Build it. Take the private money and build it. Don't use my money. Build it. We need it. Great. What else you want to do, the White House? You need something else? Build it. What? Great. You're going to privately fund something and build it for our country? Thank you. Yes. This would not be hard for me to say. It would not be hard for you to say. These people can't do it. This is the worst argument I've ever heard. They don't want them to take money from Apple, Meta, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft because it's pay-to-play scheme. Those companies might be bigger than the White House. When we're cutting right to the chase, they may be. Because those companies get to control their own destiny. The White House gets blocked by courts and politicians right and left. I'd like to think the president is the most powerful person in the world, but I'm not sure that's the case. There are too many roadblocks in this country these days. There are too many activist judges. There are too many people stopping our president from doing the things they're duly elected to do. There is only one thing to stop a president from doing the wrong things, in my opinion, and that's the voters. If you don't like what the president is doing, vote them out. That's it. It shouldn't be courts. Let Trump do his thing for 4 years. If people hate it, J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or Ron DeSantis will go down in flames and we'll get Gavin Newsom. That's how it works. Not courts, not judges, not Liz Warren and Adam Schiff wanting some oversight committee to watch over Trump's privately funded project to have a ballroom. I can't believe the stuff these people get mad at. Unreal. Give me a call. Let me know what you think. 913-408-7957. That's 913-408-7957. It's Thanksgiving week. This is Uncanceled. I'd love to hear from you next on KCMO Talk Radio. So I'm slacking a little bit here today. During the break, I should have figured this out. And maybe somebody will do this. Maybe Mark can do this. I don't know. He's got a complicated day, and it's a holiday week. And, you know, we're kind of in a goofy holiday mood, getting ready for all that. But if Apple, which is investing $600 billion in the United States over the next 4 years, if they paid the whole $300 million for the ballroom, what is that fraction of what they're spending? What percentage would $300 million be of $600 billion? I mean,
that's too much for me today.
It's just ridiculous. Would $600 million be 1%? So 1/2 of 1% is what I think is what we're talking about. Honestly, I think that's what the number is. 1/2 of 1%. If they paid for the whole ballroom, which they're not, they're just going to give some what Apple would call nickels or pennies, you know, like here's $10 million. It's nothing. It's insane what these people get crazy over. And they think that money going to that ballroom is going to sway Trump into being a dirty politician. Pay for play. Oh, Trump's getting rich off the ballroom. Oh, my God, what is wrong with these people? Let's go to the phones. Robert in Topeka is up first today on KCMO. Hi, Robert. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, Kevin. How are you today?
I'm well, thanks.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. This is my second time calling. I called a couple weeks back. I forgot to say it was my first time. But the last time that the East Wing was expanded, it was in 1942. And the reason that the East Wing was expanded was because of the bunker that was underneath the ballroom or underneath that wing. So all of the money that's doing this is creating an up-to-date, state-of-the-art bunker, and I really think that the ballroom is just the top of that cake. There's going to be layers below ground. That's why it's going to cost so much, all of those things. So it's not really the ballroom. It's an updated
I love everything you're
bunker
saying.
from 1942.
Count me in. I love everything you're saying. And if they need more for a better bunker, let's put more in it. I'm all on board with that. There's an endless supply of private money Donald Trump can get for this. There's no question.
Right, and everybody after Trump is going to get to reap the benefits of that. expansion. Like you said, the ballroom, I think that's just like I said, the top of the cake. But all of the things below ground that get built because of that too.
Trump's going to spend very little time in it because it's going to take most of his presidency to build, but what he's going to get is his name on it. It's going to be the Trump Ballroom. And once they name it the Trump Ballroom, they can't take that away. You just can't do it. You can't do it. He paid for it. You just can't. Right. And it won't matter anyway. It'd be like, if they did want to change it and call it the East Ballroom, like Democrats may want to when they get in charge, the East Ballroom, it won't matter. Everybody's going to know it's the Trump Ballroom. And it will be remembered historically that way for sure.
Right. We'll just have to keep that alive.
Yes, sir. Good call, Robert. You call me anytime, man. Thank you.
Say
hi to our friends at Topeka. Appreciate you listening there.
It's like sandstone, right?
Right. Yeah, you still call it sandstone. That's exactly right. The amphitheater. Hey, let's check in with Rick in Lafayette County. Hey, Rick, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Kevin. Hey, this whole Kelly thing reminds me of John McCain, who I did not like a little bit even, and he's just the same thing, using his military service to justify or to put him on the right side of every issue. I hate it when the politicians do that. That doesn't necessarily make them right because they served in the military.
I agree. That's why there's a chain of command. You put the people in charge giving the orders as the ones who should be giving the orders. And Mark Kelly doesn't sound like he should be giving any orders to anyone because he has Trump derangement syndrome.
Well, I know whenever an argument or a discussion comes up with a group of my friends and that, I don't throw out there that I'm a Vietnam vet, so that makes me right on the issue.
Well said. Yes, sir. I absolutely know it. And I had this conversation, and I respect that enormously. Thank you very much. And thanks for your service. I know you probably hear that all the time. But I mentioned to my daughter last week, she won an award at a conference that she went to. She's very smart. She's gifted at what she does. And she shared this with me. And I don't think she doesn't post. She's not on social media saying, hey, this is what I said, you know what I'm most proud of is how humble you are about it all. You know that you're good at what you do. You know you're smart, and you don't let other people know it. And she says, yeah, I'm learning that. I've learned that from my boyfriend. And I was hoping she'd say I learned that from my mom and dad a little bit, but we're not quite at that phase yet, but that's okay. You're exactly right. I mean, what you're saying, Rick, is just spot on. You don't go around showing your medals and your ribbons and then have Pete Hegseth able to post it. You didn't even post it right. You didn't have them on your uniform correctly. Crazy. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate the call. All right. And that was in reference to at the top of the show today, Pete Hegseth put a post up about Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona, who is trying to convince people in the military and the CIA to disobey orders because they're coming from Trump. That's essentially what they're doing. And he posted a picture of his uniform and his medals and all that stuff, and he didn't have them arranged properly. And Pete Hegseth called him out on social media and reposted the photo and said, you can't even get this right. If we recall you to active duty service, the first thing we're going to do is a uniform check because you don't know how to wear the uniform properly. He basically said, you're telling people in our military and intelligence operations to not listen to orders and directives, and you don't even know how to wear the uniform the right way. It's been so long for you. I don't understand, man. Mark Kelly, he's another guy. We spent a lot of time in Arizona. We know the state very well. That ran as another one of these Democrats that ran as a moderate. He was an astronaut. His wife had an assassination attempt on her. He's just not that guy anymore. That's not who he is. He's radical. He's got Trump derangement syndrome. It seems there is much of that going around. All right, when Uncancelled continues, I'm going to share with you, Trump is talking football again. We've got that. And you won't believe this story with Campbell's Soup. They have a vice president that got caught on tape throwing the entire company under the bus. That's next when Uncancelled continues on KCMO. Even if you're on your way to the airport, getting ready to fly, busiest travel week of the year, I just saw a stat live on Fox News. There are 3,366 commercial jets in the air right now in U.S. airspace. That's in the air. That's not on the ground at airports getting ready to go or, whatever. 3,366 in the air. What? That's crazy. They kept building smaller and smaller planes because they were more fuel efficient and they do shorter routes. Like Southwest's whole business model was, at one point it was Kansas City to Oklahoma City to Dallas. Short little flights, smaller planes, less fuel, more fares. If we got 3,300 planes in the air right now, maybe we need bigger airplanes. Can we make an airplane? Can we fly more airplanes that seat 300 people and cut that number down to 1,000? I don't even know if that's possible. There's so many smaller communities now that have jet service. I think that's really ultimately what's causing it, the commuter jets. Places like Manhattan, Kansas, with 4 flights a day. It just adds to traffic in the sky. So here we are, 3366 in the air right now. Okay, Donald Trump has weighed in again on football. He did this Sunday night, and he's upset with the New York Giants, who lost their game to the Lions, and it was a good game. So we know what happened last week. He made a comment about special teams, the kickoff rules. Dave Tobe, the chief special teams coordinator, was asked about it by local reporters, and Tobe said Trump doesn't even know what the rule is. I'm on the record as saying that's correct. Trump doesn't know the rule. I don't know the rule. You don't know the rule. Nobody wants to know the rules. The rules are stupid. They're getting in the way of enjoying the football game. Nobody cares about the stupid NFL kickoff rules. We're just going to watch and see what happens. It's dumb. So Tobe was right that Trump doesn't know, but Trump was also right that the rules are stupid. You don't need to know the rules to know that they're stupid. First of all, they're stupid if nobody knows the rules. If they're so complicated that fans don't know them, then they're stupid rules. So they were both right. Tobe was right. Trump didn't know. Trump was right. The rules are stupid. But now Trump has gone after former Chiefs quarterback guru, Patrick Mahomes' first quarterback coach, and resident genius of the staff. I believe this will be, next to Spagnuolo, who was already an accomplished coach, whatever, this will be known as the best assistant that Andy Reid had in Kansas City, Mike Kafka. I have for years wanted him to be the next head coach of the Chiefs. I'm afraid that's not going to happen because I'm afraid he's going to get hired up. Mike Kafka is the interim head coach for the New York Giants. Almost every Giants fan everywhere is thrilled that right now the Giants are fun to watch. They pulled out a couple of fun plays, trick plays. They're beating the Lions on the road 27-24 with 2:54 to go. Now, you're 2-9. You're in the running for the number 1 pick in the draft. They've got their young quarterback, so that's not what they're looking for. But draft picks are draft picks. You're 2-9. You're Mike Kafka. You're the interim coach. You're up 3. There's 2:54 to go. You're at the 6-yard line of the Lions. It's 4th and goal. He goes for it. One play wins the game. One play. I watched a team last night. Who was it? Was it the 49ers are playing last night against the Carolina Panthers? They had an extra point where there was a penalty. So they moved it up to the 1-yard line and then called a play that would have been the same from the 2-yard line. It was a pass 6 yards deep into the end zone. I'm like, if that's the play you're going to run, it doesn't matter whether you run that from the 2 or the 1. Some coaching is really stupid. But Kafka goes for it, and they fail. They're still up 3. The Lions kick a field goal. It goes to overtime. So it really hasn't totally backfired on him. He was planning for that. But he was also saying, I win this game with this touchdown. I got no problem with it. Trump goes on social media and just blasts him, called it weird and crazy, and couldn't believe that the Giants did this. I think sports opinions are fine. Trump's not wrong. I understand older football fans that don't follow new football closely would understand that's what you do. You say, okay, you got to go make your touchdown to beat us. Well, about 10 years ago, everybody started making touchdowns to beat you. And so you realized we got to win the game with our offense. We went through almost 100 years of football in this country where all the coaches won with defense. We'll stop the other team. We'll be fine. Let's get a lead. We'll stop the other team. Not anymore. Andy Reid was brilliant at this on Sunday, icing out the clock against the Colts. No, the Chiefs didn't get the touchdown, but guess what? The Colts didn't get the ball back in regulation. It was beautiful. It's the way you do it. You can't coach to your defense. Mike Kafka was calling one play to win the game. In my opinion, he did the right thing. I wouldn't get in some big heated argument with Trump or anybody that wants to argue he should have kicked the field goal, but I don't see the point of going up 6. So Trump weighing in again on football has created a firestorm on the internet, which is great. It's kind of who and what Trump is. Campbell's soup. I eat Campbell's soup. I've eaten Campbell's soup my whole life. I think I can't speak to the healthiness of it, but I know that's better than eating Taco Bell. It's better than fried food. There's some broth in there. No matter what I get, there's some broth, there's some vegetables, There's some things in there that have to be healthy, even if they're not the highest quality, even if it's not like organic carrots in my soup. I don't trust the meat in it much. Generally speaking, when I have soup, we keep loose meat, chicken or whatever in the fridge. I'll add some of that. I know it's good, healthy protein. Sometimes I'll scoop out some of the little pieces of chicken from the soup, leave them on the table, on my plate or something, and give them to my dog. But I didn't know it was this bad. We have an executive at Campbell's Soup. His name is Martin Bally, and he's on temporary leave. He was the vice president and chief information security officer, and he absolutely lost his mind when a security analyst named Robert Garza came to him with some information. So I'm going to read this. This is for my newsletter yesterday. I wrote a newsletter for my patrons. If you want to sign up for my newsletter, you can go to kkhasissues.com. Get the weekly newsletter and patron podcasts. kkhasissues.com is where you can sign up. But I'm just going to read you straight from my newsletter. It's just a part of the newsletter yesterday. Newsweek reports that Campbell's Soup is facing an employment discrimination lawsuit after company security analyst Robert Garza says he was fired for revealing unseemly conduct by a senior executive. Garza recorded a conversation with Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer Martin Bally, and Bally just lost his mind that day. The Vice President is recorded saying, quote, "We have S word for effing poor people. Who buys our S word?" He would continue, "I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's not healthy now that I know what the F is in it. It's bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat effing piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer." And it gets worse for Bally, as he also made some really awful comments about, quote, "Indians that don't know an effing thing and couldn't even think for their effing selves if they tried." Whoa. This is an all-time meltdown by an executive, and it's caught on tape. It's involved in a lawsuit. This man's career has to be over, period. He's on leave, but that's ridiculous. How is Campbell's going to handle the fallout of this thing? The worst part is you have a high-level security information officer for Campbell's saying, "I ain't eating that 3D engineered meat. It comes out of a printer." Oh, boy. What do you want to guess about March, maybe February, March? Campbell's soup cans will have a new redesign on the outside. They will say new and improved, no artificial this, 100%, whatever free-range chicken or whatever it may be. It's coming. Now your price of soup's going to go up, but Campbell's Soup is going to get better. I don't think they make the meat with a 3D printer. But the point is well taken. This guy says, "I ain't eating it." It's just not good enough. Man, that is a big, big problem for Campbell's Soup. 24% of people in America are living paycheck to paycheck. This just came out yesterday. Last year, it came out 24% of people in America were living paycheck to paycheck. My answer to this is what? That sounds pretty good. I was told we have 42 million people on food stamps. Those people aren't paycheck to paycheck. They don't have enough. How can 24% of the people is all living paycheck to paycheck? These are people getting by doing just fine. And these numbers, if you took all the numbers that our government gives us, then none of them make sense. They're totally contradictory. So what does this mean, 24% live paycheck to paycheck? Well, they define this as 95% of what you bring in goes to housing, food, gas, utilities, internet, childcare, or public transportation. And it only leaves you 5% for anything else, which means you don't really get to do anything else. There's like almost nothing left. Okay, I get that. What about somebody who works, has their money taken out for their 401k out of every paycheck? They own a home but don't really have much equity in it. Maybe they have a line of credit against it. They've got $25,000 in credit card debt, and they're essentially underwater for net worth. But they are saving money every month in their 401k. It comes right out of their check. Are they living paycheck to paycheck? Are you better off living paycheck to paycheck than being a family that invests money in your 401k every month, but is upside down with credit? There's just too many ways to score these things. I think they're trying to say the economy's bad. When they put this story out, these hit pieces are always like, oh, the economy's terrible. 24% of the people are living paycheck to paycheck. Folks, paycheck to paycheck is a starting place. Okay? You probably don't want to be in your 50s doing it, but it's a starting place. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're not hurting anyone. If 95% of what you make goes to housing, food, gas, utilities, internet, childcare, public transportation, you're maybe not going to Chiefs games or a Taylor Swift concert, but if you haven't racked up a bunch of debt and you're renting and you're not upside down, you're better off than a whole lot of people in the next 25% that are probably driving European cars, fancy German BMWs or something, driving around acting like they got the world by the tail. And the bottom line is there are millions of those people in America, and they're in debt up to their eyeballs and in worse shape than somebody going paycheck to paycheck. Honestly, they may make more money. They may feel better about themselves. They may do an awful lot of really cool things and be living the high life, but in the end, they're no better off than somebody living paycheck to paycheck. Look, we're doing a great thing in America right now. We're talking a lot about healthier food, being healthier people, trying to find a way just a little bit to eat better or get a few more steps a day. I'm not talking about a complete revolution where we're all just going to be workout freaks. Just think about what you're eating and taking in. This is all good. You know what would be even better is if we could teach Americans about fiscal responsibility. Our government is the worst example of fiscal responsibility that any citizen in any country could ever have. At least if you lived in a poor country and the government was broke, you'd go, wow, that's no way to live. I got to do better than that. But we look at our government and go, oh, boy, they got all this figured out. Look at all this stuff we're building. Look at all this free stuff I get. Oh, our government's so great. What does our government do? Oh, they borrow money. Why don't we teach this in school? When we're busy doing transgender courses or gender identity and counseling sessions and allowing furries in our high school, why don't we require sophomore, junior, and senior year of high school for first thing at Department of Education? This would be me. Sophomore, junior, senior. One full semester each year of 100, 200, 300 level personal finance, not economics. I don't care about China's economy or the Russians or any of that stuff. No. Personal finance. First year, we're going to teach you money in, money out, bank accounts, how they work. We're going to get into credit. We're going to get into how much trouble you can get in. We're going to get into investing, safe investments, guaranteed investments, federally insured investments versus stock markets, the entire thing, to where every kid that graduates high school has had this and understands how it works and the ills of being in debt or the ills of spending too much money. I don't get it, man. It's just sitting right there for us. It's like everything else the Democrats do in this country. They want to lead you. They want to herd you into this pen of misbehavior, whether it's, reliance on the government, the check that you're going to send me, the entitlement programs, whatever it is. They herd you into this pen that's bad for you, but is good for big government. They're really good at it, man, and people believe in it. When we come back, we check in with Mark. There is a pathway for the Chiefs still to win the division, and I'm going to tell you about the Russian Popeye. That's right, the Popeye. Remember Popeye the Sailor Man? The Russian Popeye is in real trouble. Next on KCMO. All right, let's see what's going on in Mark's world. Do you like being known as MVS, Mark Van Sickle, or MVP, Mark Van Parlay? MVP
I've
or
gone by
MVS?
MVS for a long time. MVP is a new nickname. I like both of them.
So either one is okay whenever I want to say it.
Exactly right.
All right. Do you remember a product called the ShamWow?
Yes, I do remember that.
Do you remember Vince from the ShamWow commercials?
If I saw him, I probably would recognize him.
He just goes crazy. He's like, soaks up everything. It's any kind of countertop. And he's, oh my God, it was so great at it. He was fantastic. He was a phenomenon for probably, his 15 minutes of fame was probably 5 years. ShamWow Vince, his actual real name is Offer, O-F-F-E-R, Offer Vince Shlomi, S-H-L-O-M-I. He lives in Texas, and he is running for Congress as a Republican.
Nice.
You want to take a crack at what his slogan is?
ShamWow something? I don't know.
This is the best. Soak up the swamp.
There you go. Let's go. He's got to have the ShamWow on his head or something.
That's fantastic. John Carter has the seat currently. He's a Republican. I just need ShamWow Vince to win because I want to see one of those 8-hour filibuster speeches where it's just that guy. He would just go. ShamWow Vince is running. Have you heard of the Russian Popeye?
I have not yet. I was excited about this one.
Okay. His name is Kirill Tereshin. He's 29 years old, and he became somewhat famous on social media in Russia and elsewhere for having the largest biceps in the world. So they nicknamed him Popeye. He's got these huge biceps. The rest of his body ain't that huge, Mark. It's just the biceps.
Just upper body workouts?
Well,
or something?
If you want to call them workouts, I'd call them treatments. So here's what the Russian Popeye did, Kirill Tereshin. For the last 5 years, he's been injecting petroleum jelly into his arms to make it look like he has giant biceps. After the years have passed, the tissue basically disintegrated in the biceps and they burst. They ripped apart. He is now more than likely facing the prospect of having both arms amputated.
Oh.
I don't know what part of his body I feel more sorry for, the biceps or his brain.
Oh.
Who would do that? He injected it himself.
Oh, this story just got worse.
It got way worse. The Chiefs can win the division. You're aware of this. You knew this. When I brought it up to you, you knew right away, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I've been looking for a path.
All right, the Chiefs have to win every game. But that sounds hard, and it is hard because they're not that good this year. But this is a team with a history of like winning 9 games in a row. That's happened. Denver needs 2 losses. But one of those has to be against an AFC team. That's it. Then the Chiefs win the West. Who knew?
It's possible.
Sure. Denver has the toughest last 4 games in football. They have Green Bay, Jacksonville, Kansas City, and the Chargers, their last 4 games. That's tough. Next 2 games, not so much.
Yeah.
Commanders and Raiders looking pretty easy.
Should beat them.
Yeah. Do you watch the Thanksgiving Day parade?
It depends on what we're doing, but usually we'll have it on in the background, yeah.
Kids like it? They got you got a favorite float? Favorite attraction?
They just like seeing the turkey flying around. They don't have any specific one.
I like the giant inflated Spider-Man.
Oh, that's always fun.
That's my favorite. All of the helium at the Macy's Day Parade comes from Otis, Kansas. It's right in the middle of the state. You saw it?
Yeah, that's crazy.
250 people or so in that town?
Yep.
They have natural gas, and they extract the crude helium from the natural gas and send it all to New York, which is full of hot air, and they have all these awesome floats. It's what they do. Pretty cool stuff, man. It's all from Otis, Kansas. Could you have found Otis on a map if you tried?
No, I had to look it up. Me and John were looking it up earlier.
Okay. So I'm telling you, I'm basically repeating something that was on Pete's show.
No, this was off the air. We did not discuss on the air.
Okay.
I just thought it was interesting.
It is very interesting. Very cool. There you have it. A lot of college basketball today. It's a holiday week. Mark, thank you, sir. Appreciate all your great help. We'll be back tomorrow on Uncanceled. The Vince Show is up next.